Okay, it's 8:15. So we will start our information session for today. Assalamualaikum, a very good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Digital Financial Inclusion Challenge, DFIC 2022 Info Session. My name is Farhana. I am the program lead for DFIC 2022. And what I'll be doing today is I'll be walking you guys through what the whole program is about. And I believe that you're here because you're interested to apply for the program. We will also be sharing a couple of tips that can help you further with the application itself. So in terms of our program duration, it will be between the 25th November to 11th December. So what's going to happen is the first half of the program, if you get selected as the top 8 teams, will be remote work. And I'll explain a bit more about that later. And from the 9th to the 11th December will be our in-person session at UUM Sintok, Kedah. Okay, so first of all, who are we? Who are the organizers of the Digital Financial Inclusion Challenge? So basically, we have the Fund for Life initiative, which aims to build a future generation that's financially literate. So under the Fund for Life initiatives, we have various programs for students, for teachers, and the Digital Financial Inclusion Challenge falls under the Youth Advocacy pillar. So this whole program is brought to you by FWD Takaful and Arus, as well as the Financial Inclusion by Youth Committee. So the FIY committee was set up early this year, and the goal of the committee is actually to propagate a movement about financial inclusion. So what I'll do later is I will also share the link to the Instagram account, because you might be interested to find out more about what FIY does as a committee as a whole. Okay, so in summary, the DFIC Challenge is an initiative under the Fund for Life program under the Youth Advocacy pillar. Okay, so what is Financial Inclusion Challenge? What is the vision of financial inclusion? So I'm not sure if everyone here is aware on like what financial inclusion is about. So a bit of an introduction. BNM, Bank Negara Malaysia, has a vision on financial inclusion, which is basically to ensure that we're able to create an inclusive financial system whereby all members of the community have access to affordable and also quality financial services. So to explain it in short, right? So if you go to like the marginalized communities, if you go to rural communities, not everyone has access to bank accounts, for example. Not everyone knows how to set up a bank account or even to use like mobile banking, right? So the financial inclusion vision is to make sure we create an inclusive, holistic financial system that serves all members of the community. So before you dive into the DFIC challenge, it will be very important for you to understand first what financial inclusion is. Okay, so what is DFIC? So DFIC actually started, this is our 3rd year organizing DFIC, but it's the first in-person challenge that's happening. So the past 2 years, we've done it virtually. So this year is the first in-person challenge, and our team is to go digital confidently with takaful. That means we want you guys to think of ideas on how you can actually digitize protection or takaful, the access to it. What are our program goals? So right now is the application stage, and what we aim to do is we aim to bring together 8 teams, 8 finalists from all across Malaysia to come together at UUM to build digitized innovative solutions. So the whole program will be a 2-week program, but the first part of it involves remote work, and the in-person finale will be happening between 9 to 11 December. I will break down a bit more about the remote work so you have a better idea of what it's about, but not to worry about the commitment. I will explain that in a bit as well. Okay, so in terms of the challenge design, right? So what exactly are you addressing? Why are we doing this whole DFIC? Okay, so the challenge that we're facing as a community is, first of all, to achieve a financially inclusive country, we need to ensure we have an inclusive financial system. Okay, so one of it, a very important aspect of it is actually protection when it comes to takaful or insurance. Based on research, we have found that only 17% of Malaysians subscribe to takaful, and there is an even lower uptake among the B40 and rural communities. So the two reasons for this is low productivity and limited geographical reach. So that is the overall challenge. But what exactly will you guys be addressing as participants of the FIC? So we want you guys to talk a bit more, discuss a bit more about digitization of takaful. What does this mean? Basically, how can we ensure that the society gets better access to protection plans, to takaful or insurance through digital mediums? So what are examples of digital mediums? Online systems, using mobile phones, using apps, for example. So that's the general problem statement. So the sub-problem statements that we're addressing is, first of all, if you look at these two questions, the target group would be the B40 and the rural communities. So the first question is, how do we ensure that these communities get access regardless of the infrastructure that's available? So as we know, there are issues when it comes to infrastructure, like internet connection, like mobile phones, whether they even have mobile phones, smartphones, right? So how do we overcome those barriers and still ensure that we can go digital to make sure that the B40 are able to learn, subscribe, and also claim takaful? Okay, so those are the sub-problem statements that we're addressing. And of course, there are prizes up for grabs, which is cash prizes. So first, second, and third place will be winning cash prizes for each team. Okay, so how will your team address the challenge? So what will happen is, if you're selected to be part of the top 8 teams, you will go through remote work. So remote work will all be done on Canvas. So you will access Canvas and we will take you through the 5-step design thinking process. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with the design thinking process, but not to worry, you will be also supported by facilitators and mentors. So facilitators will support you right from the get-go of the onboarding session, and then the whole design thinking process, you will undergo it virtually on this Canvas platform. This is the remote work that you will be addressing. Okay. And then next, who are we looking for? So if you guys here are between 18 to 30 years old and you're Malaysian, this is definitely a wonderful opportunity for you. You don't have to be from any specific academic or work background. It's basically open to anyone who meets this criteria. What you need to do is you need to form a team of 2 to 3 people. I'm not sure if we already have teams in this call, but I'm hoping so. So in terms of commitment, you first of all need to complete the application form. And we'll go through that in a bit. It can be completed either in BM or English, depending on your preference. And then you have to attend one online workshop on the 25th November, because this is when we will introduce you to your remote work and assignments. And then you go into remote work. So you do whatever preparation, complete your Canvas assignments. And then the UUM Sintok in-person finale will be happening between 9 to 11 December. Also, just for me to highlight, expenses in terms of travel, food, accommodation during this period will be covered by the organizers. So it's a pay and claim basis. All right, why should you join? Why are you guys here? So first of all, you stand a chance to win cash prizes. So these are the cash prizes up for grabs. And then secondly, I think, it's a perfect platform for you to actually meet like-minded individuals who are passionate about improving Malaysia as a whole, because the financial inclusion aspect is a very, very important aspect of, just building a better Malaysia. And lastly, you will also get opportunities to be prioritized for internship positions with one of the organizers. So just to share, our winner from the DFIC challenge, the DFIC last year, DFIC 2021, is actually now working with FWD Takaful, and they got to know more about FWD Takaful through joining DFIC. Okay, so now let's go into the whole application process. So your first step is you need to form a team of 2 to 3 people. And second one is you need to complete the application form. And we have extended the application deadline to 14th November before midnight. Okay, let me explain to you a bit about the application form, what it entails. So there's 2 essay questions, which we will go into a bit more depth. And there's 1 video submission that you need to complete as a team. Okay, before I move on into application tips for the application itself, I would like to ask if anyone has questions. If you do, I'll give it 1 minute. Please feel free to unmute and ask if you have any questions at all. Yeah, jangan malu-malu nak tanya, because this is the time that we actually get to help you guys out with your applications. So feel free to
Salam
ask.
sejahtera.
Yes.
Ya, saya Wong Bun Hao dari negeri Perak. Saya ingin tanya tentang masa esei kan. Ada 2 esei kan. Jadi
Betul.
esei tu saya kena ada apa-apa rujukan yang lebih banyak ke, atau saya cuma nyatakan apa yang kumpulan saya nak cuba bincangkan, macam tu saja. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the soalan, Cikgu. Okay, so in terms of macam mana nak jawab soalan tu, Cikgu tak perlu ada additional references or resources, but it will be good if you have new insights. Maksudnya kalau cikgu ada baca artikel, cikgu ada pendapat tentang soalan tersebut, you can answer in the question. Tapi cikgu jangan risau, because saya akan go through all the questions in a short while, and we will go into a bit more of like macam mana nak tulis essay tu. Okay, for some reason I can't see the chat, so just give me a minute. Okay, so will the slides be shared later on? Yes, we will share them via email. Okay, explaining more about the Canvas assignments. So the Canvas assignments basically will be simple assignments that you guys will have to complete based on each step of the design thinking. So let me just share my slides again. So earlier I explained about these 5 design thinking process steps, right? So the Canvas assignments will basically be, for example, for the empathy, it will ask you questions on, okay, what do you think the community needs, for example, and then the assignment would be filling up a Padlet. So it's not very heavy in terms of the assignments. The purpose of the Canvas is actually for you to have a better understanding on what financial inclusion is, and it will help you to come up with ideas for the competition. Okay, I will move on to the application tips first, because I believe a lot of people would have questions regarding the application process. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 questions, 2 essay and 1 video submission. Okay, so for all parts, for the videos and also for the 2 essays, this is the checklist of the good answer. I'm basically sharing the rubric on how we're evaluating. First is you need to address the question. So sometimes we get carried away with the thoughts and opinions we have that we forget to actually address the question in itself. And second is, are you actually sharing new insights? Meaning, okay, kita dah ada all this, the soalan, right? We give you the question, but are you sharing any new insights from your readings ataupun from your observations, from what you see on social media? So that will give you added points. And lastly, the clarity of your answer. Is there a structure? Is there a flow to your answer? Okay, let me go to question 1. So I'll go question by question, and then I'll open for like a Q&A for you guys to ask questions. Okay, so the first essay question is for you to identify challenges that that the industry may encounter in offering digitized takaful solutions for the underserved, okay, and potential ways to overcome them. Okay, so step one, what you need to do is, my tip for you is to break down the question. Apa the different parts of this question? So a few things that this question might address are, first, you need to explain who are the underserved actually, who are the industry players. You need to understand this before you are able to answer. And then, what are the challenges that the industry face and the potential ways? So these two are the two main points that you need to address. Okay, after you've broke down the question, these are the 3 tips of having a good answer. So you go back to the 3 tips, and then this is an example of an answer. Oh, I'm not going to read the entire thing out, but I'm going to tell you how this answer would actually fit this checklist. Okay, so let's go into that. So first of all, I'm going to check, am I addressing the question? Yes, I am, because I'm talking about the challenge, I'm explaining it, I'm talking about the potential ways or the method, and I'm explaining it. Okay, so I am addressing the question. Second, am I sharing any new insights? For example, kat sini, I'm going to define who the underserved are, and then I am going to share some of my observations or explanations or examples of the underserved from my readings, from my observations. Okay, so I've met first and second checklist. In terms of clarity of answer, is there a flow to this? Yes, there is. First, I'm defining, and then after that, I'm stating the challenges, the reasons, the method, and the explanation. Okay, so this is, just the basic way of us writing the essay, making sure that you have an introduction, and then here, you're basically stating and describing. So that entails the third point, which is clarity of your answer. Okay, so that's for essay question number 1. Now, for essay question number 2 is for you to share your opinion on 2 things. First is the Perlindungan Tenang 8 and My Salam initiative. And information about this has been shared in the application form itself. What exactly is Perlindungan Tenang 8? What is My Salam initiative? We have given you guys reading materials for this. Okay, so you need to share your opinion, and then you need to identify challenges that you see lower income groups face in getting financial protection. Same thing. First, kita break down the question dulu. Okay, for the first 2, what is Perlindungan Tenang 8? What is My Salam initiative? You can get this information from the readings. And then, what do I think of these 2 initiatives? This is where your opinion comes in. And what are the challenges? Okay, and then same as earlier, we go back to the 3 tips. We go back to the 3 tips. Does it address the question? Okay, so if I look at the answer here, first, in my opinion, what is Perlindungan Tenang initiative and what are my reasons for it? Okay, or what are my observations? And then here I'm talking about challenges. So yes, it addresses the question, how do I make sure I share new insights, giving examples, giving observations, giving even statistics from readings, and make sure you have a clarity. Maksudnya pastikan you have a flow lah. So when you state something, make sure you describe it, you explain it, and ensure that there's a flow to it. Okay, so those are for the 2 essay questions. And then kita ada video submission. So this video submission is where we actually want to see, first, if you understand what financial inclusion is, and the way you speak, and also most importantly, whether you're addressing this question. So the question is, what can you do, okay, to help raise awareness on financial inclusion? And second, how would digitizing micro takaful, meaning making everything digital, the access to takaful, help B40 communities? And how does this promote financial inclusion? Okay, so same as earlier, make sure you break down the question and look into the tips. But a few tips here when it comes to the editing part. We're not expecting fancy editing. We're going to look at your content. Tu yang paling penting. Okay, so just record it with the content. Make sure the content addresses these 3 things. and then upload it somewhere and share with us the link in the application form lah, and make sure it's open to access for everyone. Okay, so those are the tips on the application. Before I move further, I'm going to stop to see if anyone has questions on this part dulu. Okay, let me just see if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, tak ada. Alright. Okay, I hope the explanation was helpful and clear. But I will also open for a Q&A session at the end if you guys need any further assistance. But basically, for all the questions, just make sure you fit this checklist kat sini lah. Okay, I think there's one question. Kalau lebih sikit masa 2 minit, lebih kurang 10 saat atau 20 saat boleh diterima. Okay, kalau lebih dalam 10 saat, it's okay. Just make sure it doesn't, I would say, try your best to keep it to 2 minutes itself. But the purpose of this is because we want to train you guys to have concise answers. Sebab masa the actual competition nanti, you will only have 5 minutes to explain everything, like the entire design thinking process. Tapi yes, we won't reject your applications, but try your best to keep it within the time. Terima kasih Cikgu for the question. Okay, I will move on to the next part. Okay, so let's say you're selected as the top 8 teams. What happens next? Okay, so what happens next is, on the 21st of November, Monday, kita akan announce top 8 teams selected. We will announce it on our social media page. And we will also contact the participants who made it. And then kita ada an onboarding session via Zoom on the 25th of November, Friday. So what's going to happen here, timing would be at night, 8:30 to 10 p.m. So during this period, we will have a short ice-breaking session virtually, and we will introduce you guys to your remote work. Lepas tu, kita juga will introduce you guys to the facilitators who will support you through your remote work. Which brings me to my next point. This is where you buat your remote work between 26 November to 7 December, which is the canvas. You will go through the design thinking journey, you complete a couple of assignments on canvas and come up with ideas. So you need to come up with ideas ready for the in-person finale. So 9th December, Friday, we're expecting participants to travel to UUM and check in. In terms of traveling, you're also allowed to travel a day before, but we'll get to that later when you cross through the finale. I'm just going to go through this briefly. So 9, 10, and 11 December is when the in-person session will be happening. So you will have work time, mentoring, and feedback sessions. So we'll have mentors from the industry itself. And then on Sunday will be the final presentation and award ceremony. Okay, so the DFIC finale will be happening at UUM, and we're expecting about 70 plus attendees. We'll be having industry experts, mentors, but I think what's going to make DFIC this year really special is you guys will get to meet the rural communities, the B40 community around UUM in person. You get to talk to them. You actually get to get on the ground and understand what actually is the problem with financial inclusion sebenarnya. Okay, so you get to understand the problem better and come up with solutions that really fits the community. And for your final presentation, this will be happening on 11th of December, where you and your team will be giving a 5-minute in-person presentation. In terms of the rubrics for this and all, we will share it with the teams that make it to the top 8. So these are a couple of frequently asked questions. I won't be going through all of them, but I'll be going through some of the important ones. So I think I want to address the second question. What are some examples of solutions that you're expected? So these are some examples: policy changes, initiatives, projects, campaigns, movements. What can you gain by participating? So as I mentioned earlier, the team that wins the first prize will bring 5,000 ringgit back home, and you also get to meet like-minded people. And so commitments, I have highlighted all the commitments earlier. How to apply, form a team of 2 to 3 people, fill in the application form. Just a reminder that only 1 application is required per team. Pastikan submit sebelum 14 November 11:59 PM. In terms of language, we are allowing bahasa or English, tapi the program itself dekat UUM and also our onboarding sessions will be held in English. Does your area of study or work matter? Absolutely not. As long as you're between 18 to 30 years old and you're interested to build a more equitable society, you're more than welcome to apply. Just a heads up, if you're affiliated with one of the organizers, if you're a family member, you're not allowed to apply, just to avoid the bias. Will you get a certificate for sending in an application? You won't, but if you're selected to be the top 8 teams, you will get a certificate. What do you do if you still have questions? So you can reach out to the Fin Future Leaders or Fund for Life account. I will also share the link in the chat. And you may also email your questions to this email address, which is my email address. I will also share my WhatsApp number in the chat shortly, so you guys can contact me directly if you have any questions at all. How do you stay up to date? Please do follow Fin Future Leaders and Fund for Life. We will be providing updates on our Instagram page. And yes, that's about it from me. So any questions from the floor? I'm going to open it up to Q&A right now. While you guys ask your questions, I will share the necessary links in the chat. Okay, YE, thanks for your question. Does each team member have to be in the video? Preferably yes, because we want to make sure that we can see how you guys sync as a team. But all of you don't have to take equal parts in the video. I hope that answers. Okay, Ammar, I think you are, how old are you now? You're 17, right? So unfortunately, we're not opening it for those below 18, primarily because the content would be slightly tougher compared to high school content that we create. So unfortunately you can't, Ammar, but please do share it with friends or family who meet the age range between 18 to 30 years old. Okay, any questions at all? I am now just sharing my contact in the chat. I will also share the Fund for Life, the Instagram page for Fin Future Leaders. So please do follow this Instagram account, as we will be posting updates. We will be also sharing any tips regarding the whole financial literacy, digital financial inclusion challenge here. Okay, I'm going to give it 1 more minute. Can I probably, get everyone to share whether you already have teams? Are you interested to participate? If there's, so I just want to get an idea on how many people here are planning to actually send in your applications, because we're very excited to receive them. So if you can maybe just type out in the chat if you have a team and if you're planning to actually send in applications. And if you're from a university, please also state which uni you're from, because we have reached out to a lot of universities over the past week. And it will also be great if you guys can share where you found out about the FIC actually. Yeah, so I'm just going to type out in the chat, do you have a team? Are you interested to send applications and which uni or institution you're from, as well as how did you find out about DFIC. So if you guys can unmute and share, that would be great as well. Yeah, just for us to have a better idea on, you know, how to reach out to the youth in the future, actually. Okay, I don't see any feedback or comments yet, but I will stay for another 2 to 3 minutes if anyone has specific questions that you want to ask. Otherwise, thank you so much everyone for participating, for joining this session. Much appreciated. We will also be sharing we will, based on the, so I believe that you guys would have registered to join the session. Okay, let me just double check, because give me a minute. Yeah, I will just share this form just in case you haven't filled it up before attending this session. Please make sure that you do, so that I can share the slides with you. Give me a minute. Okay, I'll be sharing this link. Please just make sure you fill up this form if you haven't already done so. And the purpose of it is so that I can email the slides to you guys. Hopefully that would help with your applications. Okay, I see a couple of questions in the chat. Bolehkah tanya sekiranya terdapat mana-mana kumpulan Telegram untuk DFIC supaya tahu maklumat lanjut? Okay, we do not have a DFIC Telegram for everyone to join actually as of now. So kalau ada apa-apa maklumat lanjut, boleh terus message saya lah. You can straight away drop me a message on WhatsApp ataupun Telegram based on the number that I shared. Okay, all right, thank you so much guys for sharing where you're from, how you found out about it. It's very much appreciated. Kalau tak fill up the form, once again, please fill it up so that I can share the link here. Thanks Umi Chi-Chen. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correct. And also Husnina for sharing. Okay, itu sahaja. You guys are free to leave if if there's nothing else. Okay, I'll be here for another 2 minutes. Kalau ada sesiapa ada soalan ya.
Bye guys.
Bye Amar. Thanks for attending. Wow, great to hear Yung Tam. Can I ask which private uni you're from? UCSI. Okay, that's great. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Looking forward to reading your applications and also hopefully seeing you guys during the finale. I also see responses coming in to the form. That's great. I will be sharing the slide deck hopefully by tomorrow. No worries. Thank you, Cikgu Bunhao, for joining. Okay, it's 8:50. So I'll be ending the Zoom call now. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. I'm looking forward to your applications. Have a good night. Bye.